You were not born to drift, you were born to rise. Mediocrity is not an external condition, it is an internal agreement, a quiet surrender to comfort, a refusal to grow. The Stoic path is not easy, but it is simple. Discipline over ease, purpose over pleasure, progress over popularity. If you are tired of feeling average, of thinking average, of living a life that does not reflect your true potential, this message is for you. It is time to rise with intention, to live with clarity, to escape the slow death of mediocrity. Subscribe to our channel if you're ready to master your mind, and tell us, where are you watching from? Look at your hands. These are not the hands of a being destined for mediocrity. They are the hands of a creator, a builder, a shaper of destiny. I, Marcus Aurelius, have walked the paths of both emperor and philosopher, and I tell you this truth. You were not born to be average. In the quiet moments of dawn when you stand before the mirror, what do you see? Do you see a life half-lived, potential untapped, dreams deferred? This is not your natural state. This is not what the gods designed you for. You were crafted for excellence, molded for meaning, destined for distinction. But let us speak plainly about mediocrity. It is not some external force that binds you. No, it is a choice you make every day, often without realizing it. It is in the small surrenders, the alarm clock ignored, the difficult conversation avoided, the easy path chosen. Mediocrity is not thrust upon us. We wrap ourselves in its comfortable embrace. Consider this. Every great figure in history faced the same daily choice you face now. They too could have chosen comfort over growth, safety over significance, the known over the unknown. What separated them was not talent, not circumstance, but their fierce rejection of the ordinary. You feel it, don't you? That stirring in your soul when you witness greatness in others. That is not envy you feel, it is recognition. Your spirit recognizing its own capacity for excellence. You're being resonating with what it was meant to become. But let me be clear, breaking free from mediocrity is not about grand gestures or momentary bursts of motivation. It is about declaring war on the average in every moment, in every decision. It is about understanding that every time you choose ease over growth, you are voting for mediocrity. The path I speak of requires you to become intimate with discomfort, to welcome the ache of growth as an old friend, to understand that resistance, difficulty, and challenge are not obstacles to your path. They are the path itself. Look around you. The world is filled with those who have made peace with average. They will tell you to be realistic, to lower your expectations, to accept your lot. They speak from their own surrender, their own abandoned dreams. But you must understand, their limitations are not your limitations. Their choices are not your destiny. The first step in escaping mediocrity is recognizing it as a prison of your own making. Your habits, your thoughts, your daily choices, these are the bars that hold you, but they are bars you can bend, break, and reshape with the force of your will and the clarity of your purpose. I tell you this not as some distant historical figure, but as one who has grappled with the same human tendencies you face. Even as emperor, I faced the daily temptation to coast, to accept the comfortable mediocrity that privilege provides. But greatness calls us all, regardless of our station. Your potential lies dormant, not because you lack ability, but because you haven't fully committed to its awakening. Each day, mediocrity and excellence present themselves as choices. Each moment offers a crossroads, and in each decision, you are shaping not just your day, but your destiny. The time for half measures and partial commitments is over. You cannot escape mediocrity by tiptoeing away from it. You must make a decisive break, a clean cut, a total commitment to excellence. Not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect, but now, in this moment. Remember, the same force that drives the stars in their courses lives within you. The same power that shapes mountains flows through your veins. You were not born to drift through life as a spectator. You were born to participate fully, to engage completely, to transform consistently. The choice before you is clear. Continue. To accept the slow death of mediocrity or embrace the challenging rebirth of excellence. There is no middle ground, no comfortable compromise. Excellence demands everything, but rewards even more abundantly. I have seen countless souls waste their divine spark on trivial pursuits, on fleeting pleasures, on the hollow validation of others. Do not let this be your story. Your life is not. A dress rehearsal, it is the performance itself, playing out in real time, with every decision writing its script. In my years as emperor, I observed that greatness never comes to those who wait for permission to be great. It comes to those who grant themselves permission, who shoulder the responsibility of their own potential, who dare to step beyond the boundaries of average expectations. The average person lives in reaction to the world. The exceptional person lives in creation of their world. Which will you be? The question itself holds your answer, for even asking it shows you yearn for more. That yearning is not random. It is the echo of your true nature calling you home to excellence. Your journey away from mediocrity begins with this recognition. You are capable of far more than you have allowed yourself to believe. The only question that remains is, will you finally prove it to yourself? The time for mediocrity is over. The era of your excellence begins now. Listen carefully, for what I am about to share with you may contradict everything you've been told about freedom. You have been taught that freedom means doing whatever you desire, whenever you please. This is not freedom. This is slavery to impulse. True freedom, the kind that elevates the human spirit, is found in discipline. I speak to you not just as a former emperor, but as a student of human nature who has observed the rise and fall of countless souls. The pattern is clear. Those who master themselves master their destiny. Those who submit to their impulses submit to mediocrity. Discipline is not your enemy. It is the faithful guardian that stands between you and the abyss of wasted potential. It is the invisible force that transforms dreams into reality, thoughts into actions, and intentions into habits. Without discipline, talent is merely unrealized. Potential and ambition is nothing but idle fantasy. But let us be precise about what discipline truly means. It is not mere restriction or denial. It is the art of choosing what matters over what feels good in the moment. It is the practice of subordinating your temporary desires to your permanent values. It is the daily decision to act according to reason rather than impulse. Think of discipline as the foundation upon which all other virtues are built. Without it, courage becomes recklessness, wisdom becomes mere knowledge, and justice becomes inconsistent whim. With discipline, these virtues become unshakable pillars of character. I have seen men of great talent fall because they lacked discipline. I have seen modest abilities magnified through consistent, disciplined effort. The difference is stark. Talent without discipline is like a river without banks, spreading wide but running shallow. Discipline channels your energy, focusing it into a powerful force that can carve through any obstacle. The modern world conspires against discipline. It tempts you with endless distractions, immediate gratifications, and the false promise that comfort equals happiness. But comfort is not your friend. Comfort is the sweet poison that kills ambition, that dulls the edge of excellence, that makes you settle for less than you are capable of achieving. Consider the warrior who trains when others rest, who practices when others play, who studies when others sleep. Is this warrior less free because of his discipline? No, he is more free because his discipline gives him options that others do not have. His choices are expanded by his capabilities, which are expanded by his discipline. The same applies to you. Every act of discipline is an act of freedom. When you choose to rise early, you free yourself from the tyranny of rushing. When you choose to speak with measure, you free yourself from regret. When you choose to work with focus, you free yourself from mediocrity. But discipline must be cultivated. daily? It is not a destination but a path, one that must be walked every day, in every decision. Small choices compound. The decision to read instead of scroll, to create instead of consume, to act instead of wait, these seemingly minor choices are the building blocks of an extraordinary life. You must understand, discipline is not punishment. It is preparation. It is the price you pay for freedom, for excellence, for the life you dream of living. Those who shy away from this price will forever remain slaves to their impulses, forever wondering why their lives never match their aspirations. I have seen the transformation that occurs when a person embraces discipline. The mind becomes sharper, the will stronger, the spirit more resilient. Chaos gives way to order, confusion to clarity, weakness to strength. This is not theory. It is the consistent result of choosing discipline over desire. The path of discipline will not be easy. There will be days when your body rebels, when your mind seeks escape, when the world offers 1,000 reasons to relax. Your standards. These are the moments that matter most. These are the crossroads where character is forged. Remember, discipline is not about perfection. It is about progression. It is about choosing, again and again, the harder right over the easier wrong. It is about getting up when you fall, returning when you stray, recommitting when you falter. Your life will be defined not by your talents or your dreams, but by your discipline. This is the gatekeeper of greatness, the guardian of achievement, the key that unlocks potential. Will you embrace it? Will you make discipline not just a practice, but a fundamental part of who you are? The choice, as always, is yours. But know this: on the other side of discipline lies everything you aspire to become. The freedom you seek, the excellence you desire, the impact you wish to make, all of these wait for you beyond the gates that only discipline can open. There is a poison that flows through the veins of modern society. It is subtle, seductive, and all the more dangerous because it masquerades as a friend. This poison is comfort, the eternal enemy of growth, the silent killer of potential, the soft bed in which dreams die quietly. I have watched from the highest seat of power as comfort destroyed more promising souls than adversity ever could. As emperor, I saw how the comforts of Rome weakened not just bodies but minds and spirits. The same process that I witnessed then plays out now, in your era, but at a scale and speed that would have been unimaginable in my time. Understand this fundamental truth. Comfort is not your ally. It does not protect you. It weakens you. It does not nurture you. It diminishes you. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you are choosing to shrink rather than grow, to dim rather than shine, to retreat rather than advance. But what do I mean by comfort? I speak not of rest after honest labor, nor of peace earned through disciplined effort. I speak of the comfort that comes from avoiding necessary confrontations with yourself, with reality, with the challenges that would forge you into something greater. This is the comfort that keeps you in dead-end situations, that convinces you to accept less than you are capable of, that whispers, "good enough," when excellence is within reach. Clarity, on the other hand, is your true friend, though it may not always feel like one. Clarity is the cold water that wakes you from comfortable drowsiness. It is the mirror that shows you as you are, not as you wish to be. It is the voice that speaks truth when all others offer comfortable lies. To embrace clarity is to see things as they are, not as you wish them to be. It is to acknowledge your weaknesses without excuses, to recognize your strengths without ego, to face your fears without flinching. This clarity may be uncomfortable, but it is the foundation of all meaningful growth. Consider how comfort clouds your vision. It tells you that you'll start tomorrow, that you're doing enough, that you deserve a break before you've earned one. It wraps you in a fog of mediocrity so thick you can no longer see the heights you once aspired to reach. This is how comfort kills greatness, not through sudden catastrophe, but through gradual surrender. Clarity, in contrast, burns away this fog. It shows you exactly where you stand and what needs to be done. It reveals the gap between who you are and who you could be. This vision may be painful, but it is necessary. For how can you hit a target you cannot see? How can you reach a destination? You've allowed comfort to obscure. The path to clarity requires conscious discomfort. It demands that you ask yourself hard questions and give honest answers. What are you avoiding? What excuses have become your comfort blankets? What mediocrity have you learned to tolerate? These questions may disturb your peace, but they will restore your power. I tell you this as one who had to maintain clarity while surrounded by every comfort imaginable. As emperor, I could have easily lost myself in luxury and ease. But I chose instead to sleep on a hard bed, to rise before dawn, to face the truth of my duties and limitations with unflinching honesty. This was not because I enjoyed discomfort, but because I understood that clarity could only be maintained through conscious rejection of comfort's sweet deceptions. You must develop the same vigilance in your own life. Watch how comfort tries to seduce you away from your path. Notice how it offers you small compromises that lead to large surrenders. Observe how it tries to replace your clarity of purpose with the fog of contentment. The practical path forward is this: deliberately seek out situations that force you to maintain clarity. Put yourself in positions where comfort is not an option. Set goals that require you to grow. Make commitments that demand your best. Create accountability that won't let you hide in comfort's shadows. Remember, every time you choose clarity over comfort, you strengthen your ability to see truth and act on it. Every time you reject the easy lie for the hard truth, you sharpen your vision of what's possible and what's necessary. This is how clarity becomes not just a momentary state, but a permanent lens through which you view the world. The world will constantly offer you comfortable shadows to hide in. It will present you with endless opportunities to blur your vision, to soften your resolve, to trade your clarity for comfort. Your task is to consistently reject these offerings, to maintain your clear vision even when, especially when others around you choose the comfort of confusion. Clarity is not a destination, it is a practice. It must be maintained daily through conscious choice and deliberate action. Each morning you must choose again to see clearly rather than comfortably. Each decision must be made from a place of clarity rather than comfort. This is the path I walked as emperor, and it is the path I urge you to walk now. For in the end, it is not comfort that will give your life meaning, but the clarity to see what must be done and the courage to do it. Choose clarity. Embrace the discomfort of truth. Let your vision be sharp and your purpose clear. This is how greatness begins. Before the world awakens, before the chaos of the day begins, there exists a sacred space of possibility. The hours before dawn hold a power that few understand, and even fewer harness. I speak of the morning hours, not as mere time on a sundial, but as the forge in which you can shape your day, your character, and ultimately your destiny. I have known both the privileges of imperial power and the duties of philosophical reflection. And I tell you this with certainty: how you begin your day determines far more than just your morning. It sets the standard for everything that follows. It is the foundation upon which all other actions rest. Consider this: while others sleep, while the world remains quiet, you have the opportunity to build your fortress of resolve. This is not about simply rising early. It is about rising with purpose, with intention, with a warrior's mindset. The morning is your time to prepare for the battles ahead, whether they be external challenges or internal struggles. But let me be specific about what this morning resolve requires. It is not enough to merely open your eyes earlier than others. You must open your mind, strengthen your will, and align your spirit with your highest purpose. This is why I began each day with careful reflection, with meditation on my duties, with preparation for the challenges I knew would come. The power of morning resolve lies in its ability to set the tone before the world attempts to set it for you. Think about this. How many of your days are shaped by the demands, urgencies, and expectations of others? How often do you find yourself reacting rather than directing, responding rather than initiating, following rather than leading? Your morning routine must be more than a series of habits. It must be a ritual of empowerment. When you rise, do not immediately reach for your devices. Do not immediately plug into the world's chaos. Instead, claim those first moments for yourself. Use them to remember who you are, what you stand for, and what you intend to achieve. Urge you to establish what I call your morning declaration. This is not a mere list of tasks or goals, but a powerful reminder of your principles, your purpose, and your potential. Speak to yourself with the authority of an emperor addressing his subjects. Remind yourself of the virtues you intend to embody, the challenges you intend to face, the growth you intend to achieve. The practical application is this: rise at a fixed time, before the demands of the day begin. Use the silence of these hours to strengthen your mind through reading, reflection, or meditation. Strengthen your body through movement or exercise. Most importantly, strengthen your resolve through conscious contemplation of your principles and purpose. But remember, this is not about perfection. There will be days when sleep feels too sweet, when the bed holds too much comfort, when the early hour seems too demanding. These are the moments that matter most. These are the times when your resolve is tested, when your commitment to excellence faces its first challenge of the day. The world is filled with those who begin their days in chaos, who stumble from sleep into stress, who let circumstances rather than conviction determine their direction. This is the path of the average, the route to mediocrity, the way of those who never realize their full potential. You must understand, your morning resolve is not just about productivity, it is about sovereignty. It is about taking command of your day before anyone else can claim that power. It is about setting your own standards rather than meeting others' expectations. It is about leading your life rather than merely living it. In my time as emperor, I saw how the most successful generals, senators, and administrators shared this common trait. They owned their mornings. They understood that victory in battle, success in governance, and excellence in any endeavor began with victory over oneself. In the early hours, this morning resolve must become your armor, your weapon, your daily declaration of independence from mediocrity. It must be the time when you remind yourself that you were not born to be average, that comfort is not your friend, that excellence is your only acceptable standard. The practical steps are simple, though their execution requires discipline. Set your wake time and honor it as you would an appointment with destiny. Create a space for morning reflection that is free from distraction. Develop a sequence of actions that strengthen your body, mind, and spirit. Make your morning declaration with the gravity of an oath. Remember, the power of morning resolve lies not in any single day, but in the accumulated effect of hundreds, thousands of days, begun with purpose and intention. Each morning is a chance to rebuild your resolve, to recommit to your highest values, to prepare yourself for the challenges and opportunities that await. This is how you begin to master your life. One morning at a time, one conscious choice at a time, one act of resolve at a time. The morning hours are your proving ground, your training field, your daily opportunity to strengthen your will and sharpen your purpose. Let others wake to chaos. You will wake to conquest. Let others stumble into their days. You will stride into yours with purpose. This is the power of morning resolve, and it awaits you with tomorrow's dawn. The gap between what a person claims to value and what they actually do has swallowed more dreams than any external obstacle ever could. I have watched countless souls speak of greatness while living in mediocrity, dream of excellence while acting in compromise, aspire to wisdom while behaving as fools. Today we shall confront this gap, not with judgment, but with the unwavering light of honest examination. Let me speak to you with the directness this matter demands. Your aspirations mean nothing if your actions do not align with them. See, Universe responds not to what you intend to do, but to what you actually do. Your daily actions are your true values made visible, your real philosophy written not in words, but in deeds. Think carefully about this. What do your actions of the past week reveal about your true priorities? Not what you said was important, not what you planned to do, but what you actually did. This is the audit that matters. This is the examination that cuts through self-deception and reveals the truth of who you are becoming. I learned this lesson not in philosophical discourse, but in the demanding arena of imperial responsibility. As emperor, I quickly discovered that my intentions, no matter how noble, meant nothing without corresponding action. The same principle applies to your life, though your arena may be different. Consider how you spend your time, not how you think. You spend it, but how you actually spend it. Track your hours with the diligence of a merchant counting his gold. What percentage of your day is invested in activities that align with your claimed values? What percentage is lost to activities that contradict them? This is not a comfortable examination, but it is a necessary one. The modern world offers 1,000 ways to avoid this kind of honest audit. You can busy yourself with planning, with dreaming, with discussing what you intend to do. You can fill your days with motion that feels like progress but achieves nothing of lasting value. You can substitute social media posts for real achievement, likes for actual impact, plans for genuine progress. But I urge you to be more demanding with yourself. Create a systematic audit of your life. Document not just your goals, but your daily actions. Review not just your plans, but your actual accomplishments. Measure not just your intentions, but your impact. This is how you close the gap between aspiration and reality. The practical method is this. For 1 week, record every hour of your day. Be ruthlessly honest. Note not just the major activities, but the small time wasters, the mindless scrolling, the aimless diversions. At the end of the week, compare this reality with your claimed priorities. The disparity may shock you. Let it. Let that shock become the catalyst for change. But this audit must go beyond mere time management. Examine your responses to challenges, your behavior under pressure, your treatment of others when no one is watching. These are the true measures of your character, the real indicators of your values. A person's philosophy is not what they quote, it is what they do when tested. I have seen men who spoke eloquently of courage flee at the first sign of danger. I have watched those who preached discipline crumble at the first temptation. I have observed souls who claim to value wisdom reject every opportunity to learn. The gap between their words and their actions revealed the truth of their character. Your task is to eliminate this gap in your own life. This requires more than awareness. It demands systematic action. Begin with small alignments. If you claim to value health, audit your meals and movement. If you claim to value growth, audit your learning and practice. If you claim to value relationships, audit your attention and presence. The process may be uncomfortable. You will likely discover inconsistencies that challenge your self-image. You may find that you have been living in contradiction to your stated values. Welcome these discoveries. They are the first step toward authentic growth. Remember, the goal is not perfection, but progress. The aim is not to eliminate every inconsistency, but to steadily reduce the gap between what you say you value and what you actually do. This is the work of a lifetime, but it begins with honest examination in this moment. Let others live in the comfortable fog of unexamined aspirations. You will choose the demanding clarity of honest audit. Let others speak of what they intend to do. You will focus on what you are actually doing. This is how character is built, not through declaration, but through consistent alignment of action with aspiration. The power of this approach lies not in its complexity, but in its simplicity. Each day presents countless opportunities to align your actions with your values. Each moment offers a chance to close the gap between who you say you are and who you are becoming through your choices. This is the path to authentic growth, not through grand declarations or elaborate plans, but through the humble, persistent effort to make your actions match your aspirations. This is how you build a life of integrity, how you develop character that withstands testing, how you become what you claim to value. In this moment, pause and consider. Are you moving through life as a creator or a consumer? This is not a simple question of occupation, but a fundamental inquiry into your mode of existence. The world is divided not between the wealthy and the poor, the powerful and the weak, but between those who primarily create and those who primarily consume. I speak to you as one who has observed both the creative force that builds empires and the consuming force that destroys them. As emperor, I witnessed how Rome's greatest threats came not from external enemies, but from the growing tendency of its citizens to consume rather than create, to spectate rather than participate, to take rather than contribute. Your era faces this challenge at a scale unprecedented in human history. Never before has consumption been so easy, so constant, so seductive. Your devices offer endless streams of content, your markets overflow with products, your entertainment never ceases. But this abundance of consumption comes at a terrible price, the atrophy of your creative force. Understand this crucial truth. Consumption, in excess, is a form of surrender. Every hour spent passively consuming is an hour not spent actively creating. Every moment absorbed in others' creations is a moment stolen from your own creative potential. This is not to say that all consumption is negative, but the balance in your life must shift decisively toward creation. Consider how much of your day is spent in passive consumption, scrolling through feeds, watching others' lives, absorbing endless content that neither nourishes nor challenges you. Now consider how much of your day is spent in active creation, building, writing, designing, solving, contributing something that didn't exist before. The path to excellence demands that you reverse this balance. Creation must become your default state, consumption your conscious choice. This requires a fundamental shift in how you approach each day, each hour, each moment. It requires you to see yourself not as a vessel to be filled, but as a force that fills vessels. But let me be specific about what I mean by creation. Creation is not limited to art or invention. It includes the creation of solutions, of opportunities, of improvements, of connections, of value in any form. When you solve a problem, you create a solution. When you build a relationship, you create a bond. When you learn a skill, you create capability. All of these are acts of creation. The practical approach is this. Begin each day by creating rather than consuming. Before you check your devices, before you absorb the world's noise, create something, write a page, solve a problem, build something useful, improve something that matters. Let your first act be one of creation, not consumption. This shift will not be comfortable. Creation demands more from you than consumption. It requires focus when distraction is easier, effort when passivity is tempting, risk when safety seems sweeter. But this is precisely why creation builds strength, while consumption breeds weakness. I have seen how the habit of creation transforms not just output, but character. Those who consistently create develop resilience, resourcefulness, and confidence that no amount of consumption can provide. They learn to trust their capabilities, to overcome obstacles, to persist through difficulties, because creation teaches what consumption never can. You must understand, the world does not need more passive consumers. It needs active creators. It needs those who will contribute rather than merely take, who will solve rather than merely complain, who will build rather than merely criticize. This is where true value lies, not in what you consume, but in what you create. The modern world will constantly invite you to consume products, content, experiences, opinions. It will offer you endless opportunities to be passive, to be entertained, to be distracted. Your task is to resist this pull toward passive consumption, and instead embrace the demanding but rewarding path of creation. Develop what I call a creator's mindset. Look at every situation not for what you can take from it, but for what you can add to it. See every problem not as a burden to avoid, but as an opportunity to create a solution. View every interaction not as a chance to impress, but as a moment to contribute. This shift in mindset must be followed by a shift in habits. Set aside specific times for creation, sacred hours when you will not consume, but only create. Guard these times as a warrior guards his weapons, for they are equally essential to your success. Let nothing interrupt these periods of focused creation. Remember, creation is not about perfection. It is about contribution. Your early attempts may be flawed, your initial creations imperfect. This is not just acceptable, it is necessary. Every master creator began as a novice. Every great work started as an attempt. What matters is not the initial quality, but the consistent commitment to create. The world will try to keep you in consumption mode. It will offer you endless reasons to remain passive, countless excuses to postpone creation. Your task is to resist these temptations, to choose the harder but more rewarding path of creation. This is how you move from mediocrity to excellence, by shifting from passive consumption to active creation. Let others spend their lives consuming the creations of others. You will be among those who create, who contribute, who leave something of value behind. This is not just a choice of activity. It is a choice of legacy. In the midst of endless notifications, constant updates, and perpetual connectivity, a profound truth remains. Your mind is a temple, and what you allow into it shapes who you become. I speak to you now about the greatest challenge of your era, the relentless noise that threatens to drown out your inner voice, blur your vision, and fragment your focus. As emperor, I faced the noise of an empire, countless voices demanding attention, endless matters requiring decision, constant pressures seeking response. But the noise you face today is unprecedented in human history. It comes not just from without, but through devices you willingly carry, through screens you voluntarily watch, through channels you consciously choose to keep open. Understand this: every notification that breaks your focus, every headline that hijacks your attention, every trivial update that interrupts your thought, these are not merely distractions, they are invasions. They are attacks on your mental sovereignty, raids on your psychological territory, assaults on your potential for depth and excellence. The noise of your era is not random, it is engineered. It is designed to keep you reactive rather than proactive, scattered rather than focused, shallow rather than deep. It aims to transform you from a thoughtful actor into a reactive consumer, from a creator into a spectator, from a leader into a follower. But you have a power that few realize, and even fewer exercise, the power to say no. No to the constant interruptions. No to the endless scroll. No to the perpetual connection. No to the noise that masquerades as information, the distraction that pretends to be essential, the chaos that claims to be culture. Let me be specific about what this means in practice. Your devices must become your servants, not your masters. This requires more than occasional disconnection. It demands a fundamental restructuring of your relationship with technology. Set specific times for checking messages. Designate periods of complete digital silence. Create boundaries that protect your mental space as firmly as walls protect your physical space. Consider this: every time you allow noise into your mind, you are trading your attention, your most precious resource, for something of far less value. Would you trade gold for pebbles? Yet how often do you trade focused thought for trivial distraction? How frequently do you surrender deep work for shallow stimulation? The practical approach is this: begin by auditing your noise exposure. Track every interruption, every notification, every distraction for one day. The results will likely disturb you. Let that disturbance fuel your resolve to change. Then, systematically eliminate the unnecessary noise. Unsubscribe, unfriend, Unfollow. Delete apps that add more noise than value. Your mind deserves this clearing, this cleansing, this reclaiming of space, but removing external noise is only the beginning. You must also learn to quiet the internal noise, the restless thoughts, the needless worries, the endless internal commentary. This requires practice in stillness, training in silence, development of what the Stoics called inner citadel, a quiet center that remains unmoved by the world's chaos. I have observed that those who achieve greatness in any field share this common trait. They have learned to protect their mental space. They understand that clarity of thought requires clarity of environment, that depth of insight demands depth of focus, that excellence of output requires excellence of input. The world will tell you that you need to stay connected, to keep up, to remain constantly available. This is the great lie of your age. What you truly need is the courage to disconnect, the wisdom to filter, the strength to remain unavailable to the trivial so you can be fully available to the essential. Develop what I call noble silence, periods of complete freedom from input, times when your mind can settle, integrate, create. These are not luxuries to be enjoyed when convenient, but necessities to be protected at all costs. The quality of your thought depends on the quality of your silence. Remember, every great insight, every meaningful creation, every significant advancement in human history came from minds that found space for deep thought. No one ever achieved excellence while constantly interrupted. No one ever reached wisdom while perpetually distracted. No one ever built something of lasting value while continuously reactive. The noise will always be there, calling for your attention, demanding your response, promising that you're missing out if you don't engage. Your task is not to eliminate all noise, that would be impossible, but to become its master rather than its slave, to choose consciously what you allow into your mental space, rather than accepting passively whatever clamors for entry. This is not isolation, it is insulation, not from what matters, but from what doesn't, not from reality, but from the ceaseless chatter that obscures reality. This is how you create space for excellence, room for growth, silence for wisdom to emerge. Let others remain tethered to their notifications, bound to their feeds, reactive to every ping and alert. You will cultivate your inner silence, protect your mental space, guard your attention as the precious resource it is. This is not just about productivity. It is about sovereignty, about owning your mind rather than renting it to the highest. Bitter. The choice is yours, but the consequences are inevitable. Become the master of the noise or remain its servant. Create your islands of silence or drown in the endless sea of distraction. Build your inner citadel or let your mind become a public square where any trivial thought can hold court. There is a secret that the great ones know, a truth that separates the extraordinary from the average. Greatness lives in the mundane. While others chase grand moments and dramatic victories, the truly excellent understand that mastery is built in the quiet moments, the small decisions, the countless repetitions that others dismiss as unimportant. I speak to you not from abstract theory, but from the hard-earned wisdom of governing an empire. As emperor, I learned that Rome's strength lay not in its spectacular triumphs, but in the daily discipline of its legions, the consistent application of its laws, the regular maintenance of its roads and aqueducts. The same principle applies to your own pursuit of excellence. Consider this: every significant achievement in human history was built on a foundation of mundane excellence. The artist's masterpiece emerges from countless hours of practice. The athlete's moment of glory is purchased with thousands of repetitions when no one was watching. The leader's wisdom comes from years of small decisions, each one strengthening judgment and character. But let me be precise about what I mean by mastering the mundane. I speak not of mere routine, but of bringing full attention and intention to the small actions that make up your days. How you make your bed, how you greet others, how you maintain your space, how you prepare for each task. These are not minor matters. They are the building blocks of excellence. The modern world teaches you to despise the mundane, to always seek the novel, the exciting, the dramatic. This is a poison to true growth. When you learn to love the mundane, to find dignity in the daily, to bring excellence to the ordinary, this is when extraordinary becomes not a destination, but an inevitable outcome. Think carefully about your own relationship with the mundane aspects of your life and work. Do you rush through them, seeing them as obstacles to the important things? Do you perform them with resentment, wishing you could skip to the highlights? This attitude reveals more about your character than any grand ambition ever could. The practical approach is this. Choose one mundane activity in your daily life. It could be as simple as making your bed, organizing your workspace, or preparing your clothes for the next day. For the next week, approach this task with the attention of an artist and the precision of a surgeon. Make it your laboratory for excellence. Notice what happens when you bring full presence to these small moments. Watch how the quality of your attention affects the quality of your action. Observe how mastery of the mundane begins to influence other areas of your life. This is not coincidence. It is the natural outcome of understanding that excellence is not an act, but a habit. I have seen how this principle separates those who achieve lasting success from those who experience only temporary victories. The ones who last, who build something meaningful, who create sustainable excellence, they are the ones who understand that the mundane is where mastery lives. You must develop what I call mundane magnificence, the ability to find greatness in small actions, to bring full dignity to simple tasks, to approach the ordinary with extraordinary attention. This is not about making simple things complicated. It is about bringing full presence to simple things. The world will tempt you to believe that excellence lives only in the spectacular. It will encourage you to despise the daily, to resent the routine, to always chase the next big thing. Your task is to reject this false teaching and embrace the truth that masters have always known. The mundane is where character is built, skills are honed, and excellence is forged. Remember, every significant achievement rests on a foundation of mundane mastery. The building is only as strong as its daily maintenance. The performance is only as good as its daily practice. The character is only as solid as its daily choices. This is not philosophy. It is practical reality. Let others rush through their daily tasks, treating them as obstacles to be overcome. You will approach them as opportunities to be mastered. Let others save their excellence for special occasions. You will make it your standard response to every situation, no matter how small. This is how you build a life of genuine excellence, not through occasional brilliance, but through consistent, mundane magnificence, not through dramatic gestures, but through daily discipline, not through sporadic effort, but through sustained attention to detail. The choice, as always, is yours. Will you continue to chase the spectacular while neglecting the mundane, or will you embrace the truth that true mastery lives in the small moments, the quiet decisions, the regular rhythms of daily excellence? Your answer to this question will determine not just what you achieve, but who you become. There comes a moment in every life when you must decide. Will you be a victim of circumstances or a master of your destiny? Will you carry the weight of responsibility, or will you spend your days crafting excuses? This is not a one-time choice, but a decision you must make every day, every hour, with every challenge you face. I speak to you as one who bore the ultimate responsibility. The fate of an empire rested on my decisions. Yet the weight you must carry is no less significant, for while I was responsible for Rome, you are responsible for something equally precious, your own life, your own potential, your own legacy. Understand this fundamental truth. Complete responsibility is complete power. When you embrace total responsibility for your life, your actions, your reactions, your successes, your failures, you claim the power to shape your destiny. This is not burden, it is liberation. For in accepting responsibility, You reject the prison of blame and excuse. But let me be precise about what I mean by responsibility. I speak not just of accepting credit for your successes, but of owning your failures. Not just of acknowledging your strengths, but of confronting your weaknesses. Not just of celebrating your victories, but of learning from your defeats. This is complete responsibility, and it is the foundation of all genuine growth. The modern world offers you 1,000 escape routes from responsibility. It provides endless excuses, countless ways to shift blame, numerous justifications for mediocrity. Your circumstances, your past, your limitations, other people's actions, all these are offered as reasons why you cannot achieve, cannot grow, cannot excel. But I tell you this, these are not reasons. They are refuges. They are not explanations. They are excuses. Every time you accept one of these offerings, you surrender a portion of your power. Every time you blame circumstances, you forfeit your ability to change them. Consider carefully, how often do you begin sentences with, "I would, but," or "I could if only," or "It's not my fault because." These phrases are not mere words. They are declarations of surrender. They are announcements that you have chosen comfort over growth, excuses over excellence, victimhood over victory. The practical approach is this. Begin a responsibility audit of your life. Examine every area where you feel stuck, frustrated, or unfulfilled. For each situation, ask yourself, what part of this have I chosen? What role have my decisions played? What power do I have to change this? The answers may be uncomfortable. Let them be. Comfort is not your friend in this journey. I have observed that those who achieve greatness share this trait. They refuse to outsource responsibility for their lives. They do not blame circumstances for their failures. They do not wait for permission to excel. They do not expect others to solve their problems. They own their lives completely. You must develop what I call responsibility, the ability to choose your response to any situation, regardless of circumstances. This is not about controlling what happens to you. It is about controlling how you respond to what happens. This is where your true power lies. The world will constantly invite you to surrender this power. It will offer you the sweet poison of victimhood, the comfortable chains of blame, the seductive story of powerlessness. Your task is to reject these offerings, to stand firm in your commitment to complete responsibility. Remember, responsibility is not about blame, it is about power. When you say, "This is my fault," you are really saying, "This is my power." When you say, "I am responsible," you are really saying, "I am capable." This shift in understanding changes everything. Let me be clear, taking responsibility does not mean you will not fail. It means you will own your failures and learn from them. It does not mean you will not face obstacles. It means you will own your response to those obstacles. It does not mean life will be easy. It means you will own your journey through its difficulties. You must understand, no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to make your life better. No one is coming to solve your problems or fulfill your dreams. This is not a harsh truth. It is a liberating one. For in accepting this, you claim the power to save yourself, to better your own life, to solve your own problems, to fulfill your own dreams. The choice before you is clear. Will you continue to live as a victim of circumstances, or will you embrace the weight of complete responsibility? Will you spend your energy crafting excuses, or will you invest it in creating excellence? Will you wait for life to happen to you, or will you happen to life? Let others blame their circumstances, their past, their limitations. You will own your life completely. Let others wait for someone to save them. You will be your own savior. Let others make excuses. You will make progress. This is the path to genuine power, not power over others, but power over yourself. Not power to control circumstances, but power to control your response to circumstances. Not power to avoid challenges, but power to transform them into growth. The weight of responsibility may seem heavy at first, but like any weight, it builds strength in those who carry it. Embrace this weight. welcome it. For in accepting complete responsibility for your life, you claim complete power over your destiny. There is a truth that must be spoken. Excellence will always offend mediocrity. Your commitment to high standards will inevitably disturb those committed to comfort. Your pursuit of greatness will naturally threaten those who have made peace with average. This is not just an observation, it is a law of nature as certain as gravity. I speak to you from experience, both as emperor and as philosopher. I have seen how the mere presence of high standards creates discomfort in those who refuse to raise their own. When you elevate your standards, you hold up a mirror to others' complacency, and this reflection often breeds resentment rather than inspiration. Understand this: your standards are not just personal preferences, they are declarations of value, statements about what you believe is possible, assertions about human potential. When you refuse to lower your standards, you are not just making a choice for yourself. You are making a statement about what is acceptable in life. But let me be precise about what I mean by standards. I speak not of perfectionism, which is fear disguised as excellence. I speak of genuine standards, the unwavering commitment to quality, the consistent pursuit of excellence, the daily choice to do what is difficult but right, rather than what is easy but mediocre. The modern world will constantly pressure you to lower your standards. It will tell you that you're being too rigid, too demanding, too serious. It will invite you to compromise, to fit in, to stop making others uncomfortable. With your commitment to excellence, this pressure comes not from malice, but from mediocrity's need to justify itself. Consider carefully, how often have you been told to relax your standards, to stop taking things so seriously, to go with the flow? These are not suggestions for your benefit. They are attempts to make your excellence less conspicuous, your commitment less convicting, your standards less challenging to those who refuse to rise. The practical approach is this: first, define your standards explicitly. Write them down. Be specific about what you will and will not accept from yourself and others. Then, commit to living these standards visibly, not with arrogance, but with quiet, unwavering conviction. Let your actions speak louder than your words. I have observed that those who achieve lasting greatness share this trait. They maintain their standards even when it costs them popularity, comfort, or convenience. They understand that the approval of the mediocre is not a prize worth winning if it requires lowering their standards to achieve it. You must develop what I call standard sovereignty, the absolute ownership of your standards regardless of others' opinions or reactions. This is not about being inflexible. It is about being principled, not about being judgmental. It is about being clear, not about being superior. It is about being committed. The world will offer you countless opportunities to compromise your standards. It will present situations where lowering them would be easier, more profitable, more socially acceptable. Your task is to recognize these moments for what they are, tests of your commitment to excellence. Remember, your high standards are not an attack on others. They are a gift to yourself. They are not a judgment of others' choices. They are an affirmation of your own values. When others feel offended by your standards, they are really feeling confronted by their own choices. Let me be clear. Maintaining high standards will cost you. It will cost you certain relationships, certain opportunities, certain comforts. But what it gives you in return is far more valuable: integrity, self-respect, and the deep satisfaction of living according to your highest values. You must understand the discomfort your standards create in others is not your problem to solve. Their reaction to your excellence is their journey, not yours. Your task is not to make others comfortable with your standards. It is to remain comfortable with them yourself. The choice before you is clear. Will you maintain your standards and accept the discomfort this creates in others? Or will you lower them to maintain harmony with mediocrity? Will you continue to rise, knowing it may mean rising alone? Or will you sink to a level that makes everyone comfortable? Let others call you difficult, demanding, or unreasonable. These are often compliments disguised as criticisms. Let others suggest that you're taking life too seriously. Your commitment to excellence needs no defense. Let others maintain their comfortable mediocrity. You will maintain your uncomfortable standards. This is the path to genuine achievement. Not through compromise, but through conviction. Not through lowering standards, but through living them. Not through fitting in, but through standing out. Your standards are not just rules for living, they are the foundation of your legacy. The offense your standards cause to the lazy is not a bug in the system, it is a feature. It is a sign that you are on the right path, that your commitment to excellence is visible, that your standards are high enough to matter. Wear this offense as a badge of honor, not as a mark of shame. In an age where every action can be broadcast, every achievement instantly shared, and every moment potentially validated by countless others, a crucial truth must be spoken: the pursuit. A virtue and the pursuit of validation are often opposing paths. One leads to genuine excellence, the other to hollow achievement. I speak to you as one who knew the weight of public attention. As emperor, every action I took was scrutinized, every decision evaluated, every choice judged by thousands. Yet I learned that the moment you begin to act for the approval of others, you surrender your sovereignty to the whims of the crowd. Understand this fundamental principle: virtue needs no audience. True excellence does not require witnesses. The highest form of achievement is not the one that garners the most applause, but the one that aligns most perfectly with principle, regardless of who sees or celebrates it. But let me be precise about what I mean by virtue. I speak not of mere moral behavior, but of excellence of character, of doing what is right, not because it will be praised, but because it is right, of pursuing excellence not for recognition, but for its own sake. This is virtue in its purest form, action aligned with principle, regardless of external reward. The modern world has created an unprecedented machinery of validation. Your every action can be liked, shared, commented upon, rated, and ranked. This constant availability of external validation has created a new form of slavery: the addiction to approval, the constant hunger for affirmation, the perpetual seeking of social proof. Consider carefully. How many of your actions are shaped by the potential for validation? How often do you check for responses, reactions, approval? How frequently does the possibility of recognition influence your choices? These are not innocent habits. They are chains that bind you to the opinions of others. The practical approach is this: begin to practice what I call private excellence, acts of virtue or achievement that you deliberately keep to yourself. Do something excellent and tell no one. Achieve something significant and keep it private. This is not about secrecy. It is about sovereignty, about learning to act from principle rather than for praise. I have observed that those who achieve lasting greatness share this trait. They are more concerned with the quality of their actions than with others' opinions of them. They understand that validation is fleeting, but virtue is eternal. That applause fades, but principle endures. You must develop what I call virtue sovereignty, the ability to maintain your commitment to excellence regardless of external validation or its absence. This is not about rejecting recognition when it comes. It is about ensuring that recognition is not your primary motivation. The world will constantly tempt you to trade virtue for validation. It will offer you shortcuts to recognition, paths to praise that bypass principle. Your task is to resist these temptations, to remember that the opinion that matters most is not the world's verdict on your actions, but your own knowledge of their alignment with virtue. Remember, every time you choose validation over virtue, you sacrifice something precious: your autonomy, your authenticity, your alignment with principle. Every time you act for applause rather than excellence, you trade something permanent for something temporary. Let me be clear. This is not about avoiding success or rejecting recognition. It is about ensuring that success and recognition are byproducts of virtue rather than substitutes for it. It is about maintaining your commitment to excellence, even when, especially when, no one is watching. You must understand. The validation you receive from others is always conditional, always temporary, always subject to change. But the satisfaction of acting in alignment with virtue is unconditional, permanent, and entirely within your control. The choice before you is clear. Will you live for the fleeting pleasure of others' approval, or for the lasting satisfaction of alignment with principle? Will you chase the temporary high of validation, or pursue the permanent peace of virtue? Consider the difference between these paths. The path of validation requires constant external input, perpetual affirmation, endless seeking of approval. The path of virtue requires only your commitment to excellence, your alignment with principle, your dedication to what is right. Let others chase likes, follows, and shares. You will pursue excellence whether anyone notices or not. Let others shape their actions for maximum approval. You will shape yours for maximum alignment with principle. Let others live for validation. You will live for virtue. This is not an easy path. The world's machinery of validation is powerful and seductive. The dopamine hit of immediate approval is addictive. The social reward of public recognition is tempting. But the peace that comes from alignment with virtue, the strength that comes from principle-driven action, the freedom that comes from validation independence, these are worth far more. Remember, history's greatest achievements were often made by those who acted without guarantee of recognition, who pursued excellence without certainty of reward, who chose virtue over validation. This is the path of true greatness, not the noisy road of public acclaim, but the quiet path of principled action. The world has enough people chasing validation. What it needs are more people pursuing virtue. What it has enough of is those who act for applause. What it needs more of is those who act from principle. Which will you be? Make no mistake, the moment you commit to excellence, you declare war on mediocrity, and mediocrity will fight back. The instant you begin to rise, forces both external and internal will conspire to pull you back to the comfortable depths of the average. This is not pessimism, it is preparation. I speak to you as one who faced resistance at every level of achievement. As emperor, I confronted not just the opposition of enemies, but the inertia of tradition, the comfort of convention, and the resistance of those who preferred the familiar mediocrity to unfamiliar excellence. The same forces that opposed empires' progress will oppose your personal evolution. Understand this truth. Resistance is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It is confirmation that you're doing something significant. Growth always encounters resistance. Change always provokes opposition. Excellence always disturbs the established order of mediocrity. But let me be precise about what I mean by resistance. I speak not just of external opposition, though that will certainly come, but of the full spectrum of forces that arise to challenge growth. The doubt that clouds your mind, the fatigue that weighs your body, the fear that grips your heart, these are all forms of resistance. The modern world has its own unique forms of resistance to your growth. The endless distractions that fragment your focus, the comfortable options that tempt you from your path, the social pressure that urges conformity, these are the contemporary weapons of mediocrity against excellence. Consider carefully, how often have you begun a journey of growth only to be stopped by resistance? How many times have you retreated when the opposition grew strong? How frequently have you surrendered to the familiar when the path to excellence became difficult? This is not judgment. It is recognition of a pattern that must be broken. The practical approach is this. Begin to view resistance as a compass. When you feel opposition, whether internal or external, recognize it as a signal that you're moving in the right direction. Let resistance be not your stop sign, but your confirmation that you're on a path worth taking. I have observed that those who achieve lasting greatness share this trait. They expect resistance and prepare for it. They understand that opposition is not an obstacle to success, it is a component of success. They know that resistance is not something to be avoided, but something to be embraced as part of the journey. You must develop what I call resistance resilience, the ability to maintain your course not despite opposition, but because of it. This is not about being stubborn. It is about being prepared, not about being inflexible. It is about being unshakable in your commitment to growth. The world will present you with many forms of resistance: the skepticism of others, the pull of old habits, the comfort of familiar limitations. Your task is not to avoid this resistance. That would mean avoiding growth itself, but to prepare for it, to expect it, to use it as fuel for your transformation. Remember, every significant achievement in human history was met with resistance. Every meaningful change faced opposition. Every step toward excellence was challenged by the defenders of mediocrity. You are not alone in facing resistance. You are in the company of all who have ever dared to grow. Let me be clear. Preparing for resistance does not mean becoming paranoid or defensive. It means becoming strategic and resilient. It means understanding that opposition is not personal, it is natural. It means recognizing that resistance is not your enemy, it is your teacher. You must understand, the strength to overcome resistance comes not from fighting harder, but from preparing better. It comes from building your resilience before you need it, from strengthening your resolve before it's tested, from committing to your path before it becomes difficult. The choice before you is clear. Will you let resistance stop you, or will you let it strengthen you? Will you retreat when opposition arises, or will you advance because of it? Will you see resistance as your enemy, or will you recognize it as your ally in disguise? Consider this. Every time you overcome resistance, you grow stronger. Every time you push through opposition, you build resilience. Every time you face resistance and continue forward, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you thought. Let others be stopped by resistance. You will be strengthened by it. Let others retreat when opposition arises. You will advance because of it. Let others see resistance as their enemy. You will recognize it as your teacher. This is the path to genuine achievement, not through avoiding resistance, but through preparing for it, not through fearing opposition, but through expecting it, not through retreating from challenges, but through advancing because of them. The resistance you face is not a bug in the system. It is a feature. It is not an obstacle to your growth. It is an essential part of your growth. Embrace it. Prepare for it. Use it. For in learning to face resistance with preparation and purpose, you develop the strength that excellence requires. There is a disease that plagues many great minds, a paralysis that strikes those with the highest potential, the curse of overthinking. While the mediocre rush blindly forward and fools charge ahead without thought, many capable souls remain trapped in the prison of endless analysis, perpetual planning, and constant contemplation. I speak to you as one who faced this challenge daily. As emperor, I could have spent every moment analyzing possibilities, weighing options, considering consequences. But I learned that while thought without action is futile, action guided by wisdom, yet not delayed by excessive deliberation, is the path to genuine achievement. Understand this crucial truth. Thinking is a tool, not a solution. Analysis is a means to an end, not an end in itself. The purpose of thought is to inform action, not to replace it. Yet, how many spend their lives thinking about what they will do, planning what they will achieve, dreaming of what they will become, without ever taking the decisive steps to make it real? But let me be precise about what I mean by action over overthinking. I speak not of reckless behavior or thoughtless reaction. I speak of informed action, of decisive movement, of the courage to move forward with imperfect information, rather. than waiting for perfect certainty, which never comes. The modern world has created unprecedented opportunities for overthinking. The endless access to information, the constant exposure to others' opinions, the ability to analyze every possibility, these can become chains that bind you to inaction rather than tools that empower your movement. Consider carefully. How many opportunities have you lost to overthinking? How many dreams remain unrealized because you needed just a little more research? How many times has analysis become an excuse for avoidance? This is not preparation. It is procrastination disguised as prudence. The practical approach is this: set clear limits on your planning phase. Define specific criteria for when thinking must yield to action. Create deadlines not just for your goals, but for your decisions about those goals. Remember, a good plan executed now is better than a perfect plan never implemented. I have observed that those who achieve greatness share this trait. They balance thought and action in proper measure. They understand that while planning is important, action is essential. They know that wisdom lies not in perfect analysis, but in the ability to act decisively with the information at hand. You must develop what I call decisive momentum, the E, ability to move from thought to action without becoming trapped in the purgatory of endless analysis. This is not about being hasty. It is about being decisive. Not about being reckless. It is about being resolute. The world will offer you endless opportunities to defer action in favor of more analysis. It will present you with infinite rabbit holes of research, countless angles of consideration, perpetual possibilities for more planning. Your task is to recognize when these become excuses rather than aids. Remember, every moment spent in excessive analysis is a moment stolen from actual achievement. Every hour spent in unnecessary contemplation is an hour lost to productive action. Time spent thinking about doing is not the same as time spent doing. Let me be clear. This is not a call to thoughtless action. It is a call to thoughtful action. Emphasis on the action. It is about understanding that perfect certainty is an illusion, that complete preparation is impossible, that there comes a point where more analysis yields diminishing returns. You must understand the world responds to action, not to thought. Your impact is measured by what you do, not by what you plan to do. Your legacy will be built on your actions, not on your intentions. The choice before you is clear. Will you remain in the comfortable realm of endless analysis, or will you step into the challenging arena of action? Will you continue to perfect your plans, or will you begin to perfect your execution? Will you think about life, or will you live it? Consider this paradox. Often, the best way to gain clarity is through action. Movement creates momentum. Action generates insight. Doing reveals opportunities that no amount of analysis could uncover. Let others remain trapped in the maze of overthinking. You will find your way through action. Let others wait for perfect certainty. You will move forward with intelligent risk. Let others plan endlessly. You will plan sufficiently and act decisively. This is the path to genuine achievement, not through perfect analysis, but through balanced action. Not through endless contemplation, but through thoughtful execution. Not through perpetual planning, but through decisive movement. The time for overthinking is over. The era of endless analysis must yield to the age of informed action. Your thoughts, your plans, your analyses, these are valuable tools, but they are means to an end, not the end itself. The end is action, impact, achievement. Remember, history remembers those who acted, not those who merely thought about acting. It records the achievements of those who moved forward in spite of uncertainty, not those who waited for perfect clarity. Which will you be? The one who thought about greatness, or the one who achieved it through decisive action? The pursuit of perfection is a seductive trap that has claimed countless souls capable of excellence. While the average person settles for mediocrity and the lazy make no effort at all. Many of the most capable among us become paralyzed by ennui, impossible standard, the illusion of perfection. I speak to you as one who grappled with this challenge daily. As emperor, I could have been crippled by the weight of seeking perfect decisions, perfect policies, perfect justice. Instead, I learned that the path to genuine achievement lies not in pursuing perfection, but in measuring and honoring progress. Understand this essential truth: perfection is not a destination, it is a distraction. It is not a goal, it is a mirage that moves ever further as you approach it. The truly excellent understand that their power lies not in achieving perfection, but in maintaining constant progress toward their highest potential. But let me be precise about what I mean by measuring progress. I speak not of crude metrics or superficial benchmarks. I speak of genuine advancement in character, in capability, in contribution. I speak of the kind of progress that transforms not just your circumstances, but your very nature. The modern world has created new varieties of the perfection trap. Social media shows you endless images of seemingly perfect lives, perfect bodies, perfect achievements. Technology promises perfect efficiency, perfect knowledge, perfect control. These are all illusions that can prevent real progress. Consider carefully, how often has the pursuit of perfection stopped you from starting? How many times has the fear of imperfect execution kept you from taking action? How frequently has the gap between your current state and your ideal standard paralyzed you? This is not excellence. It is excellence's greatest enemy. The practical approach is this: establish clear, measurable indicators of progress in every area you wish to improve. Not perfect standards, but progress markers. Not ultimate goals, but next steps. Focus your energy not on lamenting the distance to perfection, but on celebrating and building upon each step of progress. I have observed that those who achieve lasting greatness share this trait. They are ruthlessly committed to progress, but not attached to perfection. They understand that excellence is not about reaching a final perfect state, but about maintaining consistent forward movement. You must develop what I call progress awareness, the ability to recognize and honor genuine advancement while maintaining high standards. This is not about lowering your standards. It is about understanding that progress, not perfection, is the true measure of excellence. The world will constantly tempt you with images of perfection, with standards that no human can meet, with expectations that serve to paralyze rather than motivate. Your task is to reject these false ideals in favor of authentic progress, real growth, genuine advancement. Remember, every step forward, no matter how small, is victory over inertia. Every improvement, no matter how modest, is triumph over stagnation. Every bit of progress, no matter how incremental, is success over paralysis. Let me be clear. Measuring progress does not mean accepting mediocrity. It means understanding that excellence is a journey of consistent improvement, not a destination of perfect achievement. It means honoring the step you're taking now while keeping your eyes on the horizon. You must understand, the energy you spend pursuing perfection is energy stolen from making progress. The time you spend lamenting your imperfections is time lost from improving your capabilities. The focus you put on what's wrong is focus diverted from what's possible. The choice before you is clear. Will you remain paralyzed by the pursuit of perfection, or will you embrace the power of progress? Will you wait until conditions are perfect, or will you begin your journey now, imperfect as it may be? Consider this. Every master was once a beginner. Every expert was once a novice. Every achievement began with a single imperfect step. What mattered was not the perfection of that step, but the fact that it was taken. Let others be paralyzed by perfectionism. You will be empowered by progress. Let others wait for perfect conditions. You will work with what you have. Let others fear imperfect action. You will learn through doing. This is the path to genuine achievement. not through the pursuit of an impossible perfect, but through the consistent accumulation of progress. Not through waiting for ideal conditions, but through making the best of current circumstances. Not through lamenting what's missing, but through maximizing what's present. The time has come to free yourself from the chains of perfectionism, to release yourself from the paralysis of impossible standards, to embrace the power of progress as your true measure of excellence. Remember, the greatest achievements in human history were not perfect actions, but progressive improvements. The most significant transformations did not happen in a single perfect moment, but through consistent, imperfect effort. Which path will you choose, the paralysis of perfectionism or the power of progress? There exists a profound misunderstanding about the nature of peace, a belief that it comes from escape, from withdrawal, from the absence of effort. This is a dangerous illusion. True peace, the kind that sustains excellence and nurtures growth, is not found in retreat from challenge, but in the mastery of response to it. I speak to you as one who found serenity not in spite of enormous responsibilities, but through them. As emperor, I discovered that peace was not the absence of conflict, but the presence of ordered effort, not the void of challenge, but the fullness of purposeful engagement. Understand this fundamental truth. Inner peace is not a passive state to be discovered, but an active condition to be created. It is not found in the absence of effort, but in the proper application of it. It is not about escaping life's demands, but about meeting them with such capability that they no longer disturb your center. But let me be precise about what I mean by outer effort. I speak not of mindless activity or frantic motion, but of disciplined engagement, of focused action, of purposeful endeavor that aligns with your highest principles and serves your deepest values. The modern world promotes a false dichotomy between peace and effort. It suggests that you must choose between tranquility and achievement, between serenity and success. This is not just wrong, it is destructive. It leads people to either abandon peace in pursuit of achievement or abandon achievement in pursuit of peace. Consider carefully, how often have you sought peace through escape, through withdrawal, through avoidance of challenge? And how lasting was the peace you found? This is not true peace. It is temporary relief that leaves you weaker, less capable, more vulnerable to life's inevitable demands. The practical approach is this: begin to view your efforts not as enemies of peace, but as its building blocks. Each challenge met with skill, each responsibility fulfilled with excellence, each difficulty faced with composure. These are not obstacles to peace, but its very foundation. I have observed that those who achieve lasting peace share this trait. They do not seek to escape life's demands, but to meet them with such capability that the demands themselves become sources of satisfaction rather than stress. They understand that peace comes not from doing less, but from doing things well. You must develop what I call active serenity, the ability to maintain inner calm not through withdrawal from challenges, but through mastery of them. This is not about being passive. It is about being capable, not about avoiding stress, but about transforming your relationship with it. The world will constantly tempt you with false forms of peace, escapes, distractions, temporary reliefs. Your task is to reject these counterfeits in favor of the genuine article. The peace that comes from knowing you can meet life's challenges with skill and composure. Remember, every skill you master, every capability you develop, every challenge you learn to meet with excellence. These are not just achievements, they are investments in your peace. They are not taking you away from tranquility, they are building its foundation. Let me be clear. This is not about seeking stress or creating unnecessary challenges. It is about understanding that true peace comes not from avoiding life's demands, but from building the capability to meet them. Not from having no problems, but from having the ability to solve problems well. You must understand, the strength that comes from outer effort creates the conditions for inner peace. The capabilities you develop through disciplined action become the very tools that allow you to maintain tranquility in the face of challenge. The choice before you is clear. Will you continue to seek peace through escape, only to remain perpetually vulnerable to life's demands? Or will you build peace through capability, creating a serenity that can withstand any challenge? Consider this paradox. The more capable you become, the more peaceful you can be. The stronger your abilities, the more serene your mind. The greater your mastery, the deeper your tranquility. This is not contradiction, it is correlation. Let others seek peace through escape. You will find it through mastery. Let others avoid challenge in pursuit of calm. You will find calm through meeting challenges with excellence. Let others try to hide from life's demands. You will find peace in meeting them with capability. This is the path to genuine peace, not through retreat, but through advancement, not through avoidance, but through engagement, not through weakness, but through strength. The peace you seek does not lie in some distant monastery. It lies in the mastery of your daily life. The time has come to reject the false peace of escape and embrace the true peace of capability. To understand that tranquility is not found in avoiding life's demands, but in meeting them with such skill that they no longer disturb your center. Remember, the greatest sages were not those who fled from life's challenges, but those who learned to meet them with such mastery that the challenges themselves became paths to peace. Which will you be? One who seeks peace through escape, or one who builds peace through excellence? In a world that worships noise, celebrates constant connection, and fears empty spaces, a powerful truth must be spoken. The deepest wisdom, the most profound strength, and the clearest vision often come not from activity, but from intentional stillness, not from connection, but from solitude, not from noise, but from silence. I speak to you as one who found his greatest insights not in the clamor of the Senate or the bustle of the imperial court, but in moments of deliberate solitude. As emperor, I discovered that leadership's deepest wisdom often emerged not from endless counsel, but from intentional silence. Understand this essential truth. Silence is not empty, it is full of answers. Solitude is not lonely, it is rich with revelation. Stillness is not passive, it is pregnant with possibility. These are not escapes from reality, they are gateways to its deeper understanding. But let me be precise about what I mean by silence, solitude, and stillness. I speak not of mere absence of noise, but of intentional quietude, not of forced isolation, but of chosen solitude, not of listless immobility, but of purposeful stillness. These are not deprivations, they are technologies of wisdom. The modern world conspires against these practices. It fills every moment with noise, crowds every space with connection, floods every instant with information. It teaches you to fear silence, to avoid solitude, to escape stillness. This is not progress, it is poverty of the spirit. Consider carefully. When was the last time you sat in true silence? When did you last embrace genuine solitude? How long has it been since you experienced real stillness? These are not casual questions. They are diagnostic tools that reveal the state of your inner life. The practical approach is this: create deliberate spaces for silence in your daily life. Carve out regular periods of solitude in your weekly routine. Build moments of stillness into your daily practice. These are not luxuries to be enjoyed when convenient, but necessities to be protected at all costs. I have observed that those who achieve lasting wisdom share this trait. They make allies of silence, solitude, and stillness. They understand that the deepest insights, the clearest thoughts, and the most profound realizations often come not in the noise of activity, but in the quiet of reflection. You must develop what I call stillness strength, the ability to remain comfortable and capable in silence, solitude, and stillness. This is not about being antisocial. It is about being self-contained. Not about rejecting connection, but about understanding the power of intentional disconnection. The world will constantly try to fill your every moment with noise, your every space with people, your every instant with activity. Your task is to resist this constant filling, to protect spaces of silence, to preserve moments of solitude, to maintain periods of stillness. Remember, every great insight in human history came from a mind that knew how to be still. Every profound discovery emerged from thoughts that had space to deepen. Every meaningful innovation arose from attention that had room to focus. Let me be clear. This is not about becoming a hermit or rejecting the world. It is about understanding that your engagement with the world becomes more meaningful, more impactful, and more wise when it is rooted in regular communion with silence, solitude, and stillness. You must understand, the quality of your action depends on the quality of your reflection. The depth of your impact relies on the depth of your insight. The power of your presence stems from your capacity for absence. The choice before you is clear. Will you remain constantly connected, perpetually stimulated, endlessly active? Or will you create space for the wisdom that can only emerge from silence, the strength that can only build in solitude, the clarity that can only come from stillness? Consider this paradox. Often, the most productive thing you can do is nothing. The most powerful words are unspoken. The most meaningful connections come after disconnection. This is not contradiction. It is completion. Let others fear silence. You will find strength in it. Let others avoid solitude. You will discover wisdom in it. Let others escape stillness. You will build power through it. This is the path to genuine wisdom, not through constant activity, but through intentional stillness, not through perpetual connection, but through purposeful solitude, not through endless noise, but through protected silence. The time has come to reclaim these essential practices, to understand that silence, solitude, and stillness are not enemies of achievement, but its deepest allies, that they are not obstacles to overcome, but tools to employ. Remember, the greatest leaders, thinkers, and creators throughout history all understood the power of these practices. They knew that true strength often grows in silence, that real wisdom often emerges in solitude, that genuine clarity often comes through stillness. Which will you be, one who fears these practices or one who masters them? There is a tragedy greater than death, a loss more profound than defeat, the tragedy of the unlived life, the slow surrender of possibilities, the quiet burial of potential, the gradual acceptance of existing rather than truly living. This is not mere philosophy. It is an urgent call to fullness of being. I speak to you as one who faced death daily, not just as emperor confronting mortal threats, but as a philosopher contemplating life's finite nature. Through this dual perspective, I learned that the fear of death is actually the fear of not having truly lived. The anxiety about ending is really anxiety about never having fully begun. Understand this vital truth. Life is not measured in years, but in lived moments. Not in breaths taken, but in moments that take your breath away. Not in time past, but in passion expressed. The length of your life is fixed by fate, but its depth and intensity, these are chosen by you. But let me be precise about what I mean by leaving nothing unlived. I speak not of reckless adventure or mindless experience collecting. I speak of full engagement with each moment, complete expression of your potential, total commitment to your purpose. This is not about doing everything. It is about living everything you do. The modern world offers a seductive counterfeit of living, the endless scroll through others' lives, the passive consumption of experiences, the vicarious thrills of digital reality. This is not living. It is spectating. It is the exchange of your life's potential for shadows on a screen. Consider carefully how many of your days are truly lived and how many are merely survived? How often do you engage fully with the moment, and how often do you simply wait for it to pass? How much of your potential remains unexpressed, your purpose unfulfilled, your power unused? The practical approach is this. Begin to audit your aliveness. Rate each day, not by what you accomplished, but by how fully you lived it, not by what you gained, but by how completely you gave yourself to it, not by what you finished, but by how fully you engaged. I have observed that those who achieve lasting greatness share this trait. They refuse to leave any part of themselves unlived. They understand that each moment is an opportunity not just to exist, but to express, not just to endure, but to engage, not just to continue, but to create. You must develop what I call living awareness, the constant consciousness of life's finite nature, coupled with the committed intention to live it fully. This is not about being reckless. It is about being relentless in your pursuit of authentic living. The world will constantly offer you opportunities to postpone living. It will present you with reasons to wait, excuses to delay, justifications for holding back. Your task is to reject these offerings, to understand that later is a luxury you cannot afford, that someday is a promise life never made. Remember, every moment you postpone living is a moment you lose forever. Every expression you withhold is an offering you can never make. Every aspect of yourself you keep hidden is a gift the world will never receive. Let me be clear. Living fully does not mean living frantically. It means living authentically, purposefully, completely. It means bringing your full self to each moment, your whole heart to each endeavor, your total attention to each engagement. You must understand the tragedy of life is not death. It is all we leave unlived when death arrives. The real loss is not in ending, but in never fully beginning. The true failure is not in falling short, but in holding back. The choice before you is clear. Will you continue to exist, or will you begin to live? Will you remain a spectator to your own life, or will you become its full participant? Will you leave parts of yourself unlived, or will you express your full potential? Consider this. At life's end, we regret not what we did, but what we did not do. Not the risks we took, but the chances we never seized. Not the adventures we had, but the fears we never faced. Let others postpone their living. You will engage fully now. Let others hold back parts of themselves. You will express yourself completely. Let others wait for some day. You will seize this day. This is the path to genuine living. Not through careful preservation of energy, but through full expression of essence. Not through safe distances, but through complete engagement. Not through partial commitments, but through total presence. The time has come to reject the hollow comfort of existing and embrace the challenging joy of living. To understand that life is not something that happens to you, but something that happens through you when you engage fully. Remember, history remembers not those who lived long, but those who lived fully. Not those who preserved themselves, but those who gave themselves completely to life. Not those who waited for the perfect moment, but those who made each moment perfect through their full engagement. The question is not whether you will die, that is certain. The question is whether you will live before death arrives, whether you will express all that is within you or take parts of yourself to the grave unexpressed, whether you will leave nothing unlived or die with your music still in you. In this final wisdom, I share with you perhaps the most powerful truth I learned both as emperor and philosopher. The art of beginning again, not once, not occasionally, but every single morning. For excellence is not a destination reached once, but a choice renewed daily. I speak to you as one who had to rebuild Rome's greatness not once, but every day. Each dawn brought new challenges, fresh obstacles, different tests. What I learned was that yesterday's victories, though valuable, do not guarantee today's triumph. Each day demands its own conquest. Understand this essential truth. Excellence is not a permanent state achieved, but a decision repeatedly made. your past achievements, though worthy of honor, do not secure your future greatness. Each morning offers you a new choice between excellence and mediocrity, between growth and stagnation. But let me be precise about what I mean by beginning again. I speak not of starting over in defeat, but of starting anew with purpose, not of erasing yesterday's progress, but of bringing fresh energy to today's possibilities, not of forgetting what you've learned, but of applying it with renewed intention. The modern world tempts you to believe that once you've made it, you can coast. That achievement is a destination rather than a daily choice. That excellence, once attained, becomes automatic. This is not just wrong, it is the seeds of mediocrity taking root. Consider carefully, how often do you rest on yesterday's accomplishments? How frequently do you allow past success to justify present comfort? How many times have you stopped growing because you reached a certain level? This is not continuation, it is surrender to mediocrity. The practical approach is this: create a morning ritual of renewal. Each dawn, consciously choose excellence again. Regardless of yesterday's victories or defeats, today offers you a fresh canvas. Your task is not to maintain your past, but to create your future every single day. I have observed that those who achieve lasting greatness share this trait. They never consider themselves to have arrived. They understand that each day offers a new beginning, each morning presents a fresh choice, each moment provides another opportunity to choose excellence. You must develop what I call renewal resilience, the ability to begin again with full vigor, regardless of yesterday's outcomes. This is not about forgetting the past, it is about not being bound by it. Not about ignoring experience, but about maintaining freshness of approach. The world will constantly invite you to coast on your achievements, to rest in your accomplishments, to settle into your success. Your task is to reject these comfortable possibilities in favor of daily renewal, constant growth, perpetual beginning. Remember, every great achievement in history was built not on a single moment of excellence, but on countless decisions to begin again. Every lasting legacy was created not through one-time effort, but through daily renewal of purpose. Let me be clear, beginning again is not a sign of failure. It is a mark of wisdom. It is not an admission of inadequacy, but an expression of commitment to excellence. It is not about erasing progress, but about ensuring its continuation through fresh engagement. You must understand, the choice between excellence and mediocrity is not made once, but every morning. The decision to grow or stagnate faces you each day. The opportunity to begin again is life's daily gift to you, but you must choose to accept it. The choice before you is clear. Will you rest on your past achievements, or will you build on them through daily renewal? Will you coast on what you've already accomplished, or will you choose excellence again today? Will you let yesterday's success become today's limitation, or will you use it as a foundation for fresh growth? Consider this paradox. The most experienced masters often approach each day with a beginner's mind. The truly excellent maintain their greatness not through preservation of the past, but through constant renewal in the present. Let others believe they have arrived. You will continue to journey. Let others coast on their achievements. You will build on yours through daily renewal. Let others maintain their level. You will raise yours through constant beginning. This is the path to lasting excellence, not through one-time achievement, but through daily renewal. Not through reaching a destination, but through continuous journey. Not through arriving, but through perpetual becoming. The time has come to understand that each morning offers you a profound choice to continue in comfortable mediocrity or to begin again in pursuit of excellence, to coast on yesterday's achievements or to build upon them with today's efforts. Remember, the greatest among us were not those who achieved excellence once, but those who chose it again and again every single day, not those who reached a level and maintained it, but those who used each level as a foundation for the next. The question is not whether you can achieve excellence. You have likely proven that already. The question is whether you will choose it again today and tomorrow and every morning that life grants you. Whether you will see each dawn not as a continuation, but as a beginning. Whether you will make excellence not your achievement, but your habit.